Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. All right, all right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ourselves all set and ready to go here. Let's make sure we're all good. Is all good in the hood. Let's see if we got everything. All right. Keegan says, OPAD boss. Yes, sir. All right. Good morning, Keegan. How you doing? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. All right. Just getting everything all set up. So give me just a second, Keegan, then I'll be right there. You are first on the list of people that I am going to give the stonks to. So give me just a second right now. 1 second. 1 second. All right. All right. 1 second. Yeah. Keegan says, I'm good, bro. What about you? I'm doing good, man. It's a blessed day. Another blessed day under God's green earth. You know how it is, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed, brother. How you doing? I'm doing good. You doing good? Everybody doing good? Happy Friday. How's everybody doing today? Yeah. Right now I'm just vibing and getting everything all set up, just getting everything fixed. Everything's all ready to go, making sure we're live on the YouTube. Yes, we are. Are we live on the X, of course? Yes, we are. Are we live on the Twitch? Let's make sure. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Good. Just got to get the announcements out. And then we're all set and ready to go. Give me just a second. 1 second. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Boom. Right there. But yeah. I'm just chilling. Vibing. Blessed. You know what I mean? Getting everything all set up and ready to go. Boom. Right there. Good. All right. There we are. There we are. Okay. Let me just get all this information out. Ready to go. All right. There we go. Spot right there. Mm-hmm. Keegan asks, boss, what do you think about USA and Iran? Well, I hope we can come to a peaceful resolution. Hopefully, you know? Yeah, it did create a lot of volatility with the oil stocks, but I mean, if you're asking my personal thing, I just hope we can find peace. That's what I hope. Moment by moment. That's it. I just hope we can all find some peace and prosperity. You know what I mean? That's what I believe. I'm a man of the peace. You know, and hopefully everybody can find a happy resolution, and hopefully everybody can find a good resolution. You know, that's all. That's all I hope for, man. I hope it doesn't. You know, I hope things stay good. Oh yeah, stability is always better for the stock market too. Of course, of course. All right, all right. Let's get that OPAD ready for you there. Let's get OPAD ready. OPAD. OPAD. All right. So OPAD as of now is currently up. This is ANPA. OPAD. All right. OPAD currently a little bit choppy, right? So basically, what you got going on here for OPAD is there's a little bit of movement up here, dipped down a little bit, and then kind of just dropped. Formed a bit of a double bottom right over here, right? And then kind of started to curl its way on upward over here. So as of now, it's a bit choppy in terms of like going up and down. It's going up, it's going down. It's a little bit sporadic with the up and down. However, it does have a bit of resistance forming right here at the $2.14 mark over here. But it was on the uptrend though. It is currently above the VWAP. It is 38%. 38% up, ladies and gentlemen. 38% up. And that is always a good thing as well. It is currently pretty much on an uptrend right now, just above the VWAP. So we got that going on right there. There were a couple of indecisive wicks right there. So I'm going to check the volume for the stock. The float is 20.4 million approximately. And that is a bit of a heavy float. Volume is 11.9 million, close to 12 million, right? So the volume is less than the float as of now. So thus, it isn't very, appealing to me because the float is much higher than the volume. The volume needs to exceed that of the float for it to be so much mexy to me. Let's see if we got any news for the stock for OPAD. OPAD. All right, so Trump is instructing representatives to buy $20 billion of mortgage bonds. That's what it says here for OPAD. All right, and it says here that they made some changes to beneficial ownership on January 5th of 2026, and they have different directors and all sorts of things like that. So that's what they got going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. So as of now, not really any real interesting news, and the float is a bit heavy, but hopefully the volume can catch up to the float, and it can break that resistance line at the $2.14 mark right here. If you could break that resistance line at $2.14, that would be awesome. And maybe, possibly, and don't quote me on this here, not a stock or financial advisor, but could be a potential shoulder, head, and maybe a shoulder right over here. Maybe, right around here. So if it's an upside down, inverted head and shoulders, that means it's a bullish pattern, and it could potentially climb its way on up. But it does need more volume. So OPAD, as of now, needs more volume. OPAD needs more volume to keep climbing upwards and break the resistance line. Because it really needs to break that resistance line at the $2.14 mark right there. That's what it really needs to do right there. All right. All right. There we go. And hold on. What happened? Oh, it says that it did the glitch again. Okay, hold on. Let me fix that. Give me 1 second. Keegan says, "Thank you, boss." Yeah, man. Of course, brother. Always. Our pleasure. Hold on 1 second. Just get this over here. Bop right there. All right. Beautiful. All right. So let me get this little glitch thing fixed. 1 sec. Because it does the little glitch thing on YouTube real quick. So let me fix that. All right. There we go. Okay. Perfect. So let's get the intro started. I almost forgot the intro. All right, let's get this started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nicks, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nicks in the house, aka the Rainmaker. And I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she gets shot out the cannon and she goes wee. Other times she likes to go to RBs and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Other times she likes to go and steal my lo mein. Other times she likes to basically get to Wendy's. Other times she'll go to Mickey D's. Sometimes she'll go to Burger King. But other times, she'll just sit at the stock market and find them ABCDs. She did call some wonderful stonks like ANPA, RENX, and LRHC. We call her DBM Moms. Yeesh. There you go. Her voice has gotten better. Good. Yes. ANPA, by the way, we called ANPA, didn't we? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah, we did. We called it. We called it. All right. ANPA currently up 120%. New bagger, by the way. New bagger. New bagger. All right. ANPA, new bagger, up 120%. ANPA up 120%. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, called ANPA up 120%. 120%. Hold on one second. All right. Yeah, we called ANPA early in the morning. We called it actually early this morning at 3:30 yesterday, and then we called it again this morning at 5:03 a.m. All right, and it ran up a nice 120% right now. Now, it was a bit low volume. It was kind of a risky call. We weren't exactly looking. We didn't exactly like it at first, but it was moving up quite a bit early in the morning, so we did call it as of then. And we did do some tweets on it as well, but primarily we've been calling it on the private Discord, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our private Discord. Links are in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. And ladies and gentlemen, yeah, be sure to check that out, because you get access to all these amazing things here. You get access to these amazing scanners right here. You get access to this awesome newsroom right over here, both of which have hyperlinks, so you can basically research further into news articles or tickers of your choosing, right? And basically, you can also check out our stock ticker tape, which basically shows all the stocks that we are currently keeping an eye on. And to top it off, it shows all the stocks that we are basically looking at in the stock market, keeping an eye on all the movers, basically, all the movers, right? Things that are basically just moving right now, moving at such a nice way, you know what I mean? And then to top it off, you get access to the CNN War Room, which is basically a group chat. It's basically a chat where the indelible patrons hang out, where we help each other grow, or we're supportive of each other, we help each other build each other up, and yeah, we basically just do all that. It's awesome. It's amazing. So yeah, be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check that out. Let me get this link over here set up, and then after that, we're gonna go over some of the stocks that we called, and then really get down to business. You know what I mean? Get down to business. Yes. Get down to business. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. There we go. Boom. Right there. And boom. Right there. Thank you. Yes. Yes. God bless you. Yes. I don't know why I said thank you to that. ANPA up 138%. Still climbing its way on up. ANPA 138% right now and climbing its way on up. ANPA called it this morning at 5 o'clock and called it yesterday. It is expansive. It's expansive, but we did call it. So, it do be like that sometimes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. ANPA. Let's get a support and resistance line over here for the stunk. Let's get some support and resistance lines over here. Bop right there and bop right there. Okay, so as of now, this stunk has to hold above the $50.90 mark and break above $59.86. This stock is a bit expensive. Normally, we don't call stonks that are that expensive, but we did see some movement with the stunk right here, so we called it for the private Discord. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. And yeah, that's what we had going on right there. Currently, it's got a bit of resistance at the $56.49 mark right over here, but it did have a nice move up 138%. So, ladies and gentlemen, we called quite a few stonks. We called ANPA. ANPA called this stock on our private Discord new bagger up 138%. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So ANPA as of now ran up as high as 138%, pulled back quite a bit, and hit below the $50.90 support line. It is still above the VWAP, but it needs to really curl, needs some more volume to really curl. Otherwise, it's man, you know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen, you know how it goes. But it did have a nice run, up 138% right there, 138%. So, got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Okay. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? Let me add them. Let me add them. All right. Let's take a look here. Oh, yes. We called RENX. RENX. We called that one as well. RENX ran up 50%. 50% right there. RENX ran up 50%. We called LRHC. LRHC ran up 65%. 65%. There we go. Did that one as well. And that's what we got going on right there. Let's take a look at OPAD, see how OPAD is doing. OPAD. OPAD. Currently now, OPAD looks like it's trying to curl its way on up. Looks like it's trying to curl right now. Slowly but surely, it looks like it's curling. It had a bit of a pullback here. Bounced off the VWAP, and it is kind of curling its way on up right now. Needs to break that resistance at $2.14 for it to be so much Mexi Tumya. But right now, it's currently kind of just fighting its way there. It's like, you see how it's like, it's got that resistance right there. You see it right here. There you go. Yeah, that resistance is right there. It needs to break above that. It needs to break 214 for it to really be so much Mexi Tumya. But, you know, that's how it be right now. OPAD, OPAD needs to break the resistance line. And it looks like it did. It just broke 215. It broke to 215 and is trying to fight its way on upward right now and climb. It's trying to do an ABCD pattern, I think. Me personally, I think it's trying to do an ABCD right here. So you got an A to B, B to C, C to D. That's what you potentially have right now. ABCD pattern going on right there. So we'll see what happens right there. But right now it's 217 and climbing. 217 and climbing. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I like to see.
Strong resistance at 235.
Ah, yes, it does. It do be having that strong resistance at 235, though. It do be having that. It do be having that. So let's get this support and resistance line right over Mya. Right over Mya. All right. So it's got resistance also at the 227 mark. 235 is another area of resistance as well. It's got resistance at 245 and then resistance at 275 as well. Climbing its way on up, though, slowly but surely, formed an ABCD pattern. OPAD formed an AB pattern, ABCD pattern, and is moving on up as of now. It still has some ways to go, but it is moving. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Let's take a look at RENX. RENX currently up over here. Let's get this. Oh, let's get this right over here. Bop right there. All right, so this one I think would have a shoulder. See? A head right here. And a shoulder right over Mya. And it looks like it's been trending on downward right now. So it needs to really break this slight downtrend right here. But we could also be enthusiastic and say that it could potentially be a descending wedge, so it could potentially also be a descending wedge right now and could potentially curl above the VWAP, but right now it really needs to break that descending wedge for it to be so much maxi tumya. Needs to break that descending wedge. So let's see if it can curl above the VWAPA. Let's see if it can do that. Let's see what can happen there. RENX needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be so much maxi tumya. Consistency requested meme. All right, meme is very, very choppy as of now. Very, very choppy. It is currently up $7.68, up 4%, but it is currently, as of now, very, very, very choppy. Very choppy. Not looking too schmexy in terms of the chart because it does have some indecisive wicks right here, right here, right here. It needs a lot of volume for it to be so much mexi tumya. So let's get some support and resistance lines over here. Bot right there. Bot right there. Currently, it has support at the $7.61 line, resistance at $7.68, but is very, very choppy with a lot of indecisive wicks. VWAP, it's currently above the VWAP, but right now it really needs to curl its way on up. Needs to curl its way on up. So MEME needs volume to stay on an upward trajectory. All right. There we go. All right. Consistency asked for NICE. Let's take a look at NICE. Let's see how NICE is doing. A lot of indecisive wicks here as well. Very choppy. Very choppy. Needs volume to remain somewhat schmexy to me because there are indecisive wicks over here. Has to stay above the VWAP, but NICE needs volume as well. NICE needs volume to move upward and break consolidation because it is consolidated. GVH, that was a request from consistency as well. Let's take a look over here. There are many, many indecisive wicks, very choppy, not looking too schmexy here. Right, but it is above the VWAP. I will give it that. However, it does need some serious volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Again, this stock is currently very, very choppy. Very, very, very choppy right now. So, very low float. Well, very low volume. Needs a lot of volume for it to break these indecisive wicks because it is very, very choppy. So, as of now, GVH needs volume to break the choppiness. So it needs volume to break that choppiness. Keegan says OPAD attack. OPAD. Let's take a look at OPAD. OPAD, oh my, currently climbing its way on up still. It broke through another resistance line right over here at the 227 mark and is climbing as of now. Currently up 52%. 52%. OPAD still climbing its way on up off that ABCD pattern. OPAD still climbing off that ABCD pattern. Needs to remain friends with the trend. There we go. Boom. All right, let's take a look at OKLL. OKLL. It doesn't want me to look at it. VSTL on an uptrend on some seemingly low volume. I can tell just by looking at it. Float is unknown, but the volume is 228,000. So, as of now, VSTL right here. VSTL needs to break the needs to stay on the uptrend and increase its volume for it to be so much maxi to mya. Brittany asks for LTHC. LTHC, let's take a look at LTHC. LTHC. There's LTHCF.
LRHC, maybe?
LRHC, is that what you mean? La Rosa Holdings Corp, that one? I'll take a look at that one. If it's LRHC. Oh yes, she wrote LRHC. Sorry. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's take a look over here. So as of now, La Rosa Holdings Inc. Corp. That's the name of the company. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Up 55%. Up 55% as of now. Float is 860,000. Low float. Volume is 38 million. So the volume is very much so higher than the float. That's good. All right. Let's take a look at, the float is a little low. So I'm assuming it's going to be very, 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 not choppy, but very volatile. Right. So it does have news. That La Rosa Holdings Corp has filed the Form 8. Yes. Brittany says with the R. Yeah. No, I do that. I speak Spanish. That's why. I speak like 3 languages. La Rosa Holdings Corp announces a closing of initial funding under $250 million note facility as part of $1.25 billion AI infrastructure program. And it has an initial $11 million funding under $250 million convertible note facility as a part of that $1.25 billion AI infrastructure capital program. So as of now, that's what they got going on right there. They have a big deal going on. This is some very good news for the stock right here. Very good news for the stock. And of course, yes, it does seem to have some movement going on here. A little bit choppy with the movement. Very, 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 very choppy with that movement. And at times it's a little bit, how do I put it, volatile because it's got a very low float. But I will give it this, okay? It has had a nice move up and needs to really break this pennant. It needs to stay above the VWAP right here for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what it needs to do right there. That's what it needs to do. LRHC needs to stay above the VWAP and break above the pennant here. Looks like it's trying to fight its way above the VWAP and stay there. So it really needs that volume. It needs that volume to keep climbing its way on up above the VWAP. Has a lot of volume already. It needs more, but it needs to basically stay above this VWAP, which is right over here at 120, and needs to break above this pennant right over here. All right, and let me actually get some support and resistance lines for the stock. Let me get some support and resistance lines right here. Bop right there, and bop right there. All right, so as of now, currently has support at the $1.13 mark, as well as $1.20, which is where the VWAP is. Then it has to break above 122 and break above 138 for it to be so much maxi to mya, but that's what we got going on for LRHC. LRHC. All right, Brittany asked for GTEC. Let's take a look at GTEC, GTech. All right, currently with this stock right here, it is a bit choppy. This is a bit more of a choppy stock right here, and I could tell just by looking at it, it does have a pretty low float. Let's take a look at the float and volume. All right, let's take a look at the float. Float is 769 million, so I call it 4.8 million, right? Volume is 92.8 thousand. So as of now, the volume is very much so lower than the float. The float is reasonable at 4.8 million, but the volume is 92,000, and it is currently very, very low. So as of now, this stunk needs some serious volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's for sure. Let's take a look and see if it has any news. Does it have any news? Because the news is a good catalyst. Let's take a look here at GTech for news. Last bit of news was a Form DRS on December 31st. Other than that, didn't have any real news going on here. So as of now, GTech is very, very choppy, needs some volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya, right? Needs volume, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going. Let's get the 500, 500, 500, 500. All right. So, yes, GTech as of now needs volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. But right now, it is currently meh. You know what I mean? Needs to break this pennant right here, but really needs more volume. So, GTech, as of now, GTEC needs more volume to break the pennant here. All right. So we got that going on right there. IMUX, IMUX. Let's see how IMUX is doing. Okay, IMUX has a lot of indecisive wicks, so I could tell it's very low volume. Let's take a look here. Float is 118.5 million, so the float is extremely high. Volume is extremely low at 34,000 and change. So as of now, very low float, very heavy volume. Let's take a look at the news. All right, IMUX does have some news that they have undervalued next-generation oral MS therapy with key phase 3 catalysts and strategic partnership upsides, and basically Deborel Capital maintained a buy on Immunic, which is the name of the company, and maintained an $8 price target. And basically they highlighted their 2025 milestones, including completed phase 3 Ensure 1 and Ensure 2, enrollment for vidofludimus calcium in relapsing multiple sclerosis, with top-line data expected by the end of 2026 and a U.S. patent protection into 2041. And yeah, they basically did like a whole highlight of their stuff. So they got some news. They do have some news, but they are very, very choppy and low on volume. So as of now, IMUX needs a lot of volume to really be so much Mexi to Meow right now. So that's what we got going on with IMUX. Let's take a look over here. Let's see what other stocks we got going on. ANPA. How's ANPA holding up? ANPA kind of sort of starting to consolidate here. So I am going to form a bit of a pennant right over Mya. Needs to stay above that VWAP and break above that pennant and resistance. So, all right. ANPA needs to break the pennant and resistance for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mya. Yesh, and yesh. All right. LRHC currently needs to stay above the pennant as well, or above the VWAP. Needs to stay above the VWAP and break the pennant. LRHC needs to stay above the pennant and break the VWAP for it to be, and break, needs to break above the pennant, stay above the VWAP and break the pennant. Excuse me. And break the pennant. Excuse me. A little bit of the morning brain. You know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it is. All right. LRHC, bop right there. That's what we got going on right there. Let's take a look at OPAD. Let's see how OPAD is doing. OPAD currently still on the uptrend right now. Has a bit of resistance at the $2.31 line right there. So currently has a bit of resistance. Needs to break that bit of resistance right over Mya at the $2.33 line right there. So OPAD as of now needs to break resistance. OPAD needs to break the resistance line for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mya. All right. CETX. Let's see how CETX is holding up. How's CETX holding up? And ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 600. Let's get to 600. Come on now. Let's get to 600, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Come on. Yeesh. All right. All right. All right. All right. Hold on 1 second right here. Boom. Get that going right there. All right. So, as of now, CETX broke above the VWAPA, but needs to remain friends with the trend because currently it just curled off of a massive downtrend over here. All right. So, CETX.
Oh, Amex is moving.
What?
Amex moving.
Amex. Oh, Amex.
Oh my.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh my.
All right.
AMIX moving.
All right. Hold on. All right. So let's see here. Amix, and then we'll get into FLYX, which is what Alex is requesting. So let's see about Amix. Amix is moving up 27% right now, moving its way on up, shot up like a rocket just now. It's pushing. It's pushing.
Come on now.
Don't
be a falsie. Don't be false.
Amix, major price spike, major shot upward right there. So Amix,
oh my,
major shot upward, has a 7 million float, 8 million volume, and climbing. So the volume is higher than the float. Major shot upward, moving on up. There we go. Amix is doing its thing right there. All right. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Let's see. Alex asked for FLYX. What do you think of FLYX? I'm still holding a bag from yesterday at $5.20. Let's take a look at FLYX real quick, because FLYX ran yesterday. Currently, as of now, it is up $6.85, so you still have a bit of a profit on it, Alex. However, that being stated, it's very much so consolidating right now. So it's kind of consolidating around this area. Let's see if it has any news. Let me get something to drink real quick as well. Let me get a drink real quick. I'm going to get some water in me. Water. Oh, yeah. All right. So FLYX, as of now, currently has an offering, which is probably why it is consolidated like this. But basically, right now, it has an offering. So it is very much so consolidated. Has some support at $6.78, resistance at $6.94, and then more resistance at $7.21. But it's consolidating right now because it does have an offering. So FLYX consolidating on news of an offering as of now. FLYX consolidating on news of an offering. So normally during these offerings, stocks tend to kind of consolidate. So, yeesh. It do be like that sometimes. FLYX down 4.43%. That's pretty much what we got going on right here. So FLYX, that is what we got going on. Let's take a look over here, see what else is going on here. Keegan says OPAD is climbing. OPAD. OPAD, yes, indeed it is. It is currently climbing its way on up right now. 57%. OPAD. Yes, has to stay above that 235. It is currently 236. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. OPAD needs to stay above resistance and remain friends with the trend. That's what we got for OPAD right there. Let's take a look. Brittany says I have a fat bag in OPTT. It's up 70% the last week. All right, good. That is awesome. That's great news. Let's take a look at it. Hold on 1 second. I just got to fix this thing here. There we go. It's kind of messing with the buttons here. Come on, get out. Out. There we go. Thank you. All right. Thank y'all. Yeesh. Sorry about that. I had to dust off. Get some excess dust out. There we go. All right, so let's take a look over here. And OPTT, right? OPTT. Let's take a look. All right, so as of now with OPTT, it is currently up a nice $1.62%. 1.62%. And is currently basically breaking above that area. So right now it is above the VWAP right here. It is above the VWAP right here. Brittany says, is your membership only $9.99 a month? Oh, no. It's $9.99 for the first 4 days. And then after that, it's basically $79.99 a month. So yeah, that is what we do there. But you get access to all the scanners. You get access to this scanner right here. You basically get access to this scanner right here. You get access to a couple of other scanners here, breakout scanners as well. You get access to the stock ticker tape, which is basically another scanner as well, which is basically more of a breakout scanner. All right. You get access to news search features. You get access to the newsroom, which is right over here. You get access to all sorts of basically research tools. All right. You get access to a bunch of educational content. You also get access to a lot of support. And to top it off, you get access to the community. You get access to a very educational community, as well as just a whole bunch of educational content. So yeah, it's that's normally what the that's normally what goes on there. So yeah, if you want to check that out, check out the link in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. Pick a lot of baggers a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen. We already called ANPA this morning for our private community at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it ran up a nice 138%. You get all around, all day coverage of the stock market. You know what I mean? So that's what we got going on right there. Yish. All right, now let's take a look. Oh my, hold on 1 second. There we go. I had to get this stuff out. It keeps kind of messing with the buttons, and it's annoying the heck out of me. There we go. Finally. There we go. Good. That's why I have this thing. It's perfect. that way, if it does do some stuff there, because sometimes like it'll press the buttons and it'll get like jammed. It's like, oh, come on, you know what I mean? So I got to get that there. So OPTT as of now is currently very, very choppy. Very choppy. A lot of ups, downs, indecisive wicks, and all the like. So right now it looks like it's very low volume. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 187.7 million approximately. Volume is 1.1 million and change. So as of now, the float is a lot heavier. It's a very heavy floated stock at 187 million and change. Volume is only 1 million. So as of now, that is extremely low volume, extremely heavy float. Let's see if it's got any news to it. OPTT, does it have news? The last bit of news it really had was on January 6th, and it basically said, why are investors paying attention to ocean power? And it's basically saying that the marine company announced the award of a multi-buoy contract greater than $5 million with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Now, that's really good news. That is great news. But the thing is, it was like 3 days ago, so it's pretty old news as well. So you got that going on right there. So OPTT, as of now, doesn't have any real recent news. Like, it has something that came out 3 days ago, which is cool and all, but that's not really what we're looking for. We need something more recent than that. Like, news has got to be really, really fresh. It's like a recipe, right? So it needs to have all the freshest ingredients. Like a certain type of recipe that needs to have all the freshest ingredients. If something's like a couple days old, you know what I mean? Not schmexy, you know what I mean? But that's basically what we got going on right there. It is above the VWAP. I will give it that. The VWAP is at 53 cents. This is at 54 cents. Has support at the 54-cent mark. Needs to break above 55 and 56 cents right here for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. But even then, it needs more volume because it's a very heavy floated stock. And I mean very, very heavy floated. So OPTT, as of now, needs to break above the resistance lines and needs a lot of volume to become so much Mexi to Mia. So that's what we got for OPTT. It looks like it's trying to peak above that 55-cent line right there. So that's good. But again, needs a lot of volume. Needs a lot of volume, ladies and gentlemen. Needs a lot of volume. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Anyways, so that's what it's got going on right there. That is what it's got going on. Okay, so let's take a look at OKLL. OKLL. Let's take a look at OKLL. All right. I feel like this one had an offering. Let me take a look. Let me take a look at the news. Let me see. I feel like this. I feel in my bones that this one might have had an offering. Come on. Come on. Give me the news. Give me the news. You know you wanna. Give me the give. I'm talking about like it's a dog. Give me the news. Give me the news. Come on. Come on. I guess I don't want to give you the news. All right. Actually, you know what? Let me take a look over here. I'll take a look over here. Okay, LL. Actually, better yet, I got something for it. It's called the newsroom. The news. I'm gonna basically, you know, I'm gonna look it up in using the news right here. So, news. OKLL. Oh, no articles found. Really? Okay. All right. Nothing really interesting to say about OKLL. Oh my. Nope. Nothing really found about it. Wow. So OKLL doesn't really have much in the news department going on. Looks like it looks like it's an offering. It looks like it's an offering. This is normally seen during offerings and stuff like that, all this consolidation. But let's take a look over here. Let's take a look. Bop, right here. Boom. Needs to really break this pennant and needs to stay above the VWAP for it to be so much Mexi to Mia. That's what we got going on for OKLL. Very surprising that OKLL doesn't really have any news. OKLL needs to break the pennant. Possible offering play. All right. That's what I think it is. I think it's an offering because this looks like the movement of an offering. All right, ANPA. How's ANPA doing? ANPA still needs to break that pennant right there. ANPA still needs to break the pennant, ladies and gentlemen. ANPA needs to break the pennant for it to be so much Mexi to Mia. There we go. Yeesh. OPAD. OPAD has a little bit of consolidation going on over here. Nothing crazy. Needs to break this little resistance line over here. Yeah, 235 is significant resistance. 236 as well is significant resistance as well. So we got that going on right there. Needs to break this pennant right here. And needs to break the resistance line for it to be so much Mexi to Mia. So, as of now, OPAD needs to break resistance and break above the pennant for it to be so much Mexi to Mia. There we go. GP, massive price spike. Float is 2 million, volume is 7 million, so we got that going on right there. Massive price spike, moving its way on up above the VWAP. GP shot up above the VWAP on a massive price spike. Up 49%. Boom, right there. All right, let's take a look at OPAD again, see what it's got going on. Still needs to break that pennant. OPAD still needs to break the resistance and that pennant as well. All right, PAVS. Let's see how PAVS is doing. PAVS, low float, low volume stock. Float is 667,000. Volume is 454,000. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. What, PAVS?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
That's good news. That's good news. That explains why it might be going up right now. They regain compliance with the NASDAQ. That's good news. That's good news. So as of now, PAVS is currently above the VWAPA, and climbing its way on up. PAVS, NASDAQ, compliance, play, moving, needs to remain friends with the trend and gain more volume right there. That's what it needs to do right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. All right. There we go. So, let's take a look over here. Let's take a look at another stonk. OKLL. Let's see how OKLL is holding. OKLL still has that pennant. OKLL still has that pennant going on. OKLL still needs to break above the pennant. There we go. All right. RENX. Looks like it's trying to curl off that descending wedge right there. Looks like it's trying to curl off the descending wedge, so we'll see what happens. RENX. Trying to curl off the descending wedge. Right there. Boom. Right there. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's see what we got for requests here. Let's see. All right. All right. Hang on one second. Let me get into the Twitter. All right. Hold on. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome news that I just saw. Okay. Friend of mine got engaged. Huh. That's very nice. All right. Now let me get to my request here. I'm trying to get to the request here. But I saw that. That made me smile. That was awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Let me see here. All right. Come on now. PAVS moving. All right. Let me get this. Come on. There we go. Finally. PAVS moving. Let's take a look over here. PAVS. That is awesome. I'll have to wish him congratulations after the stream. All right. PAVS moving up 34%. PAVS moving up 34% and climbing. Yes. Climbing. Yes. Good. Very good. Yes. All right. There we go. Somebody requested CETX. Let's take a look at CETX. Let's take a look over here. CETX had a nice little movement over here. Formed a bit of a pennant over Mya. Bop and bop right there. Needs to stay above that VWAP though. So CETX needs to stay above the VWAPA and break that pennant. Yes. Needs to do that, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen. What do we got? What do we got? Let me add them. Let me add them. LRHC. Somebody requested LRHC. Let's take a look at LRHC. LRHC. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at LRHC. Currently, LRHC has fallen below the VWAP. Needs to break above the VWAP and also needs to break the pennant for it to be so much Mexi Tumia. LRHC needs to break the pennant and the VWAP for it to be so much Mexi Tumia. That's what it needs to do. Somebody requested NVDA. Let's take a look at NVDA. NVDA. NVDA, extremely high price stonk. High price stonk, you know what I mean? Very high priced. All right, let's get some support and resistance. Bop right there. As of now, it fell below the VWAPA. Not looking too schmexy in that regard. Not looking too schmexy. Had a bit of a move upwards slightly and then just dropped down like a rock. Needs to break above this VWAP for it to be so much schmexy to mya. Looks like it potentially has a shoulder over here. Ahead. And a bit of a shoulder. Right back down here. And then kind of moved up and then just dropped back down. So, had that going on right there. So, as of now, NVDA needs, number one, expensive stock. NVDA. Expensive. But needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. Somebody requested GP. Let's take a look at GP. All right, GP still had that nice little price spike over here. And now looks like it has formed a bit of a descending wedge right over mya. So as of now, GP needs to break the descending wedge. GP needs to break the descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's see what else we got. Brittany requests DDL. DDL. Let's see what we got for DDL. All right. So DDL Ding Dong came in. Ding Dong. That reminds me of like of WWE where there's a character named Bailey who had a character called Ding Dong Hello, and my God, it was the most terrifying thing ever. But God bless that woman. God bless her. God bless her. Talented wrestler. All right. Anyways, so as of now, let's see here. We got support at the $2.94 line and resistance at $2.96. Very low float. I could tell just by looking at it. Very, very low float. DDL has, actually, no, not float. Low volume, excuse me. Float is 154.6 million and change. Volume is 6.7 thousand. So as of now, the float is extremely high, volume is extremely low, and there is a lot of indecisive wicks and choppiness. So as of now, DDL needs volume to break the choppiness. So DDL needs to break that choppiness, ladies and gentlemen. Does need to break the choppiness right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. All right. So let's take a look. Let's see what else we got going on. What else we got? What else we got? Let me add them. Let me add them. All right. Let's see here. Just have to stretch a little bit. But as of now, currently,
PAVS
yes.
moving.
Oh, PAVS is moving again? Ooh. $3. There we go. $3. Okay, there we go. PAVS moving. Moving up. Shot up like crazy. Oh my, 49%. 49% as of now. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. PAVS currently up 49% and shooting up like a rocket. Look at this. PAVS on the uptrend. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1500. 1500, ladies and gentlemen. PAVS. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, as of now, PAVS needs to just climbing, shot up like a rocket. Climb, baby, climb. Ooh. Ooh. Yeesh. All right. And Brittany asks for MAPS. If you have a minute, I've been holding for a while. Of course. MAPS. Let's take a look. All right. MAPS. All right. This one is another stunk that is a bit choppy. A lot of indecisive wicks over here, as you can see. Indecisive wick up here, over here, over here, over here, over here, over here, and over here. All right, currently up 89 cents, up 3%. Currently moving, well, it's just choppy. It's very choppy. As for the RSI, it was at one point overbought on the RSI, climbed back down, ended up becoming almost oversold, then climbed back up. And now is kind of leaning towards overbought, but it's not completely there yet. It's still relatively indifferent. So, as of now, with the stunk right here, let me give you an idea. BOP right here, it is currently up over here. Let's get some support and resistance lines. BOP right there has support at 88 cents, needs to break 89 cents and then 90. But it is very, very choppy. Let's check out the float over here. Check out the float. Float is 96 million, so it's very heavy floated. Volume is 5.6 thousand. So again, very low volume, very heavy float. Not looking too schmexy right there. So we'll have to see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to see what happens. But MAPS, I hope it goes well. I hope it does go well. All right. So MAPS needs volume. It just needs volume. It needs volume to break above the resistance and just needs volume in general as of now. All right. After that, let's see. Alex requested GP. GP, let's take a look at GP. He says GP is moving. GP is indeed moving off the descending wedge that we drew right over here. So it is curling its way on up. Also kind of curling up off a bit of a double bottom right over here at the $1.18 mark. Bop, right there. Shot its way on up and is now moving up to 71%. So GP curled off the descending wedge and is now up 72%. There we go. Karthik Ram. Good morning, Karthik. How you doing? You asked for RENX. Let's take a look at RENX. All right, so RENX. Let's take a look here. So RENX currently, as of now, kind of had a bit of a head and shoulders earlier in the day. Formed a bit of a downward trend or descending wedge over here. Slightly curled up, but then kind of formed another tinier pennant over here. So as of now, with the stunk, let's take a look over here. Let's get some support and resistance lines right over here. 1 second, right over here. All right, so got support, bot right there, resistance, bot right there. So you got support at the 26-cent mark right over here, resistance at the 28-cent mark right over here. Got more resistance underneath there with the above there with the VWAP because it's currently underneath the VWAP as of now. VWAP is at 28 cents. Then you got more support at 30 cents, and then more resistance at 30 cents, and then more resistance at 33 cents. So as of now, with this stunk, first things first, it needs to break above this pennant right here. It needs to break above the 28-cent resistance line, which is where the VWAP and another resistance line are. Then it needs to also break above 30 cents, then 33. So it's got a ways to go right now. Has to break above that pennant right there. So hold on one second. Let's take a look at the float. The float is 5.4 million approximately. Volume is 137 million and change. So as of now, the float is reasonable and the volume is extremely good. That's awesome. It's bullish in that regard. It just needs to break above that pennant and needs to break above that VWAP. All right, let's take a look at some news because news is a big catalyst here that we're going to need. So what we're going to see here is RenX, which is the name of the company, Enterprises Corp, highlights transformational year with expected $7 million in revenues during 2025, operating scale and debt reduction. So that's good news for them. They're trying to reduce their debt. They're trying to get more revenue in, and they have expected revenue in there. So they got that going on right there. All right, now RenX Enterprises says following integration of Resource Group Co. generated $7 million in gross revenues during 2025, and they saw fiscal year revenue $7 million. So they're really all up about the $7 million, which is good news. It's pretty good news. All right. I don't know if it'll be able to like really shoot up the stock a lot. I don't know entirely. It really depends, but it does have a lot of volume. A lot of volume. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. And it looks like it's going to be curling its way on up, bot right over here. So currently it can potentially curl above the pennant right over here. And it looks like if you look really closely, there's two little green candles right here. So it could potentially climb its way on up. So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. It's leaning a bit towards the oversold mark on the RSI, but it is trying to climb its way on up to not being overbought or oversold in the RSI. Looks like it's pretty much trying to be just indifferent in general. So we'll see what happens there. RENX, that is RENX right there for us. So RENX, as of now, RENX needs to break the pennant and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's what it needs to do right there. That's what it needs to do right there. Okay, let's take a look. And Brittany asks, are you going to be playing Fortnite today? Yes. The Coach Meister General is going to be playing Fortnite during our other show, Power Plays, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be playing during Power Plays, which is at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so he's going to be doing that. We did get a request for PAVS. Let's take a look at PAVS. Let's take a look. PAVS. How's PAVS doing? All right, so as of now, PAVS did have that nice shot upward over here, but it did have a bit of a pennant form right over Mia. So we got that going on right there. Needs to break the pennant and needs to stay above this VWAP right here, but it looks like it's trying to fall below it. Can't it hold above it? It's gotta stay above that VWAP. So PAVS as of now. Oh, the bell! The bell! It made the ringy dingy. It made the wee woo. Yes, sir. All right. Okay. All right. So PAVS as of now. It needs to stay above this VWAP right here and needs to break above this pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, but did have a nice uptrend going on earlier in the day. So as of now, PAVS needs to break above the pennant. Needs to break above the pennant and stay above. PAVS needs to hold above the VWAPA and break above the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. There we go. There we go. Looks like it's trying to test it, and it looks like it's breaking through the pennant right now. Somewhat. It peeked its head above it somewhat, and then kind of pulled its way back down. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens with PAVS. PAVS. All right. Let's see what else we got, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what else we got. Keegan asks, OPAD, still good? Let's take a look and see.
Moving.
All right. Let's take a look at OPAD.
Moving.
OPAD. All right. So OPAD, as of now, still, looks like it's falling below the pennant that it was supposed to be sticking above. So as of now, not looking too good right there. It is falling towards the VWAPA. It is falling towards the VWAP. Had a nice run earlier in the morning, but, now it's basically, it's kind of peaked its way on out. It did hit an overbought mark. And normally when it gets overbought, that means that it's probably going to go back down to kind of compensate. So it does make sense that this would probably pull its way back down. So as of now, kind of needs to just break above this downtrend for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we need to do right here. That's what it needs to do for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. It needs to break above the downtrend. I'd even go so far as to say it could potentially maybe be a descending wedge. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But OPAD needs to curl off the descending wedge right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. All right. So let's see here. All right. Now, GP was moving last I checked. Yes, it is. GP up 81%. GP moving up 81% right now. All right. And slowly climbing its way on up. Did, however, form a bit of a top tail. We don't like the top tails, DBO moms. We like the bottom tails.
Right.
We like the bottom tails. But, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it just be like that. Sometimes it do be like that sometimes. So, yeah. As of now, GP needs to stay above that pennant right there. All right, for it to be so much schmexy to mya. Needs to stay on its way up and needs to remain on friends with the trend right now. Sorry, this keeps on messing up the buttons, man. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now, as of now, GP needs to break above the... It needs to stay on the uptrend here. It needs to remain friends with this trend for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. So GP, as of now, GP needs to remain friends with the trend. There we go. That's what it needs to do right there. OPAD moving. All right. Let's see what OPAD's got going on. OPAD shot up off the descending wedge. Look at that. All right. OPAD shot up off the descending wedge. Now up 63%. Wow. I mean, yeah. I did say it was a descending wedge, so. Okay. All right. Okay, dokie. Okay. OPAD shot up off the descending wedge, up 64% right there. Now it needs to remain on that uptrend right there. Needs to remain on that uptrend. But right now it is kind of extending itself a little bit, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on it real closely now. But it is moving its way on up. It is climbing its way on up right now. So looking very good right now with that stuff. But again, it is a bit extended. So, you know what I mean? Like, see? Okay, all right. Good. All right, come on. Keep climbing up. OPAD. There we go. OPAD. Shot up like crazy just now. Up 66%. And climbing. There we go. Looking good, looking good. Up 69% now, up 69% and moving. There we go, there we go. And it looks like it's going to continue climbing up 72%, 72%. OPAD.
Oh my!
Oh my, there we go. OPAD, OPAD now up 72%, right there, 73%, excuse me, 73%. And climbing its way on up. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, baggers. Baggernomics. Baggernomics, ladies and gentlemen. Baggernomics. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Keegan asks for a GP. Or actually, excuse me, open. Open, let me see. OPEN. Open is a very, very popular stock. Very popular stock as of now. Currently, though, it hasn't really had much in the volume department. Let's take a look. Float is 854 million and change. Very, very heavy. Volume is 22 million. So low volume. Needs some serious volume for it to be so much Mexi Tumia. Very heavy float. Low volume. But open is curling its way on up slightly. So I will give it credit where credit's due. Does it have any news? Does it have any news? It had something come out in January 8th that there were mixed option sentiments in Open Door Technologies. But as far as anything else is concerned, yeah, So, as of now, Open did shoot up a bit, but is going back down. Again, very low float, so Open needs more volume to stay friends with the trend. There we go. Now, somebody requested PAVS. PAVS. All right, so PAVS fell below the pennant right now. Fell below the pennant, is currently below the VWAPA as well. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. So, as of now, PAVS is currently on a downtrend. Needs to break above that downtrend. Can it curl off of this potential little resistance line right here at the $2.54 line? Can it do it? We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. But right now, PAVS needs to break the downtrend. Needs to break the downtrend for it to be so much Maxi to me. There we go. There we go. All right. Ooh, just stretching it. Yeesh. Okay. Now, MTEN seems to have come in as well. MTEN. MTEN. M10. All right. Let's see here. Let's take a look. M10 looks like it's low volume, but it is moving its way on up. So, moving up on low volume is what I'll say for M10. MTEN. Moving up on low volume. So I will call it what it is there. Keegan says Zeta, sir. ZETA? All right. All right. So let's take a look at ZETA. Currently on the uptrend right now. Zeta is currently on the uptrend. On the uptrend right now. Bot right there. Up 3% and change. A little bit expensive. A little bit expensive. $24. But all right, let's take a look over here. Let's take a look. A little bit expensive for a stock, but it's fine. It is what it is. Float is 215.8 million. Excuse me, I call it 215.9 million. Volume is 1.4 million. So as of now, float is extremely heavy. Volume is extremely low. So as of now with this stock, not looking too schmexy as of now in terms of that, but it is on the way up. So Zeta is shooting up on some very low volume. ZETA shooting up on low volume. Needs volume for it to really become so much schmexy to mya. and to keep climbing. So that's what we need to have going on right there. That is what we need to have going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Keegan says, thanks, boss. Of course, man. Of course. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. All right. The early bird gets the cash, ladies and gentlemen. And remember to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. We already called ANPA. Nice stock that ran up a nice 138%. Called it all the way at 5 o'clock in the morning, but we also called it at 3:36 p.m. yesterday. So we got that going on right there. We called it 3:36 p.m. yesterday when it was 17%, and then 5:03 a.m. today when it was 21%, and it ran up a nice 138%. So yes, it is moving very nicely. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check that out. Be sure to check out that beautiful, beautiful membership so you can gain access to the Market Movers scanner. You can get access to our amazing scanners that basically show you whether the stock is going up or down, the ticker, the price, the volume, the float, the change in percentage, etc. And to top it off, gives you hyperlinks to the charts as well as news and all sorts of other information on each stock that we are keeping an eye on over here. That would be these little hyperlinks right here, right? You get access to the beautiful newsroom, which gives you access to all sorts of amazing articles, which gives you all sorts of article synopsis right here. All you have to do is click the link over here to read the full article. You gain access to the ticker that is affected by the news within said article. You can click on that, gain access to the amazing just chart as well as the other information pertaining to the stock that you are currently looking at. It's pretty cool. We also have access to the stock ticker tape, which basically is it's basically a scanner that says, hey, this stock is moving right now. So that's basically what that does right there. All right. You also get access to the CNM War Room, which basically shows you basically allows you to talk to the indelible patrons, and you get basically access to an amazing community of very supportive people. Very nice community. It's an educational community as well. So yeah, that's what we got going on for that one. That is what we got going on for that one. But as such, also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our beautiful Wealth Builders package, which basically gives you access to everything in the real-time alerts and scanners, plus exclusive Wealth Builders picks, exclusive Wealth Builders courses, exclusive Wealth Builders scripts, and you get access to exclusive Wealth Builders chat, as well as the wonderful Wealth Builders community, as well as exclusive access to Coach Nick Money and myself. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there, and you get access to so much more than that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. All right, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, you can check out our YouTube channel at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You can find us on x.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You can find us on TikTok, Tiki-Taki, a.k.a. the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS. And the screen name is Coach Nick Money. So you get that going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. You got that going on right there. So, Ladies and gentlemen, much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. Be sure to check us out on our Power Play show, which is going to be today at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check it out. It is hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money. Coach Nick Money himself. He basically takes a look at the stunks in the power portion of the show. He takes a look at the stunks. This takes place obviously before Power Hour. He gives his honest stunk analysis, gives it a good lookaroo, and then basically, gives his honest analysis on it. And then after that, he lets them stonks simmer on high heat, and yeah, he lets them stonks simmer on high heat. All right, and then afterwards, he basically plays some Fortnite, gets some dubs. And then he goes back to the stonks, and that's pretty much it. That's the way it goes. And he gets some dubs, he gets some amazing wins, and yeah, he just gets a lot of baggers a lot of times and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Much love, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a great weekend.
All right, have a have a great weekend if we don't see you there, but if we do see you there, we hope we see you there. All right.
We want to see you there.
All right. You guys have a amazing weekend. And also, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And peace out. Bye-bye, everybody.